Welcome or welcome back. If you are new here, click the subscribe button. Also, if you are new here, hi, hello, my name is Kayla, and today I'm going to be doing a video all about why I'm firing my doctors during this pregnancy and seeing my old doctors an hour away. If you guys have seen a couple of my other videos, you guys know that there has been like a lot of little things that have gone on, but this video is going to be everything. This is going to be spilling the tea on my doctors and like how shitty they really were. So I will never go to this clinic ever again, and it is horrible. So I'm going to start from the very beginning of when I went to this doctor the first time. I was 17 years old. I actually wanted to go to a gynecologist to see if they could give me like a referral for a specialist for my endometriosis, because I had presumed to have endometriosis. It runs in my family. I had literally every single symptom besides one, and that I will get into that. So I go into this gynecologist, and she was actually recommended to me by someone, and I don't know why. So she goes, hop up on the table. So I hop up, and she does a pelvic exam, and she checks my cervix, and she goes, does this hurt? And I say no, and she says verbatim, she says this, and she goes, you don't have endometriosis. That's not how you check for that. So this doctor was just very dismissive. She immediately put me on birth control. So I was put on birth control pills when I was 17 years old, and not even for birth control because I wasn't even sexually active at that time. So this doctor was just very dismissive, and I hate her to this day. So next, I did not go to this clinic until just a few months ago when I got my IUD out, because we had moved in July back to my old hometown, so that we are living in my hometown. So I got my IUD out, and the guy was literally in the room for about 30 seconds. I will actually have that video up somewhere over here. He was in the room for about 30 seconds, not even kidding, to go, hi, my name is blah blah blah, and I said hi, and he takes my IUD out and says we're done, and walks out of the room. That was it. I had other questions to ask him, by the way, which no one ever asked me if I had questions. So yeah, that was not very professional, just not what I want in a doctor. Now fast forward, I actually get pregnant right after getting my IUD out, which was not the plan. That was not the plan at all. So I decided to do my research, and in this clinic, they also had midwives, which I have had midwives for my other two pregnancies as well. I actually loved having midwives. I like the way that they do births and stuff like that. So I choose midwives, and I go in at 8 weeks. I'm thinking I'm having an ultrasound. This pregnancy, I have had immense amount of anxiety and anxiety attacks. I've had multiple anxiety attacks in one day. My heart rate gets up to 200 when I have an anxiety attack. Obviously that's not good for me, and that's not good for the baby. And it's mostly been surrounding the fact that I don't know if my baby's okay. So I'm thinking I'm having an ultrasound at this appointment, and I go in and I say, am I having an ultrasound? And they go, no, we don't do ultrasounds until 12 weeks, which like is so stupid. The fact that I am 11 weeks and I'm already feeling my baby kick, and I wouldn't have been able to even see my baby until 12 weeks. The fact that I can feel my baby kick before I even see my baby on ultrasound is absolutely insane to me. So I hate the policy, and a lot of people are like, but that's policy nowadays. And it's like, that's not for my old clinic. My old clinic is right at 8 weeks. They will check for baby, obviously check for the heartbeat, because miscarriages are a thing, and the fact that they don't check for that is just absolutely ridiculous, and I don't like that. Anyway, if that's you and you like that, whatever. But this is me, and I don't like that. So I go in, I was actually having pain in my upper abdominal area, right where I used to have gallbladder attacks, but I don't have a gallbladder anymore. I got that taken out. So I went in for extreme pain. I was literally hunched over bawling my eyes out for a week. So I go in, and this nurse, she asks me, and I say, she goes, "Where is your pain at?" And I said, she goes, "Is it in your uterus? Does it feel like cramps?" And I said, "No, it's like in my upper abdominal area." And I said, "It feels like a gallbladder attack, but I don't have a gallbladder." And that was the last I heard of it. She goes, "Oh, they did not care about my pain unless it was in my uterus," which is the most ridiculous thing ever. The fact that you don't care about a patient having serious amounts of pain that I've never felt besides having my gallbladder. Obviously there's other organs around where my gallbladder would be at, and the fact that like you didn't care was just very dismissive and not okay. And I need a doctor to be able to listen to me when I'm telling you that I'm having pain that is not normal. I usually don't go to the doctor unless I feel like something is wrong. And I texted my husband about 2 days before I went in, and I said, something is not right. I don't feel like something is right. Something is wrong. And I have very good intuition about my body and like what I think is right and wrong kinds of pain to have. And this was just something that was not normal. I just felt like something was wrong. So the doctor comes in, she never even asks me about the pain, and like not even at all, was not even mentioned, which just put a sour taste in my mouth. I came in a week early because of the pain that I was having. Like this entire appointment was scheduled because of the pain that I was having, and the fact that you are dismissing me and not even asking me about my pain is just simply crazy. And I still am like in shock that even happened, which like I shouldn't be. I'm so used to doctors dismissing me, but this was really bad. So I went in for pain and never even got my pain addressed. They did not care. They did not care unless it was in my uterus, which is insane to me. Insane. So at this appointment, I go in to have my blood drawn. Actually, when I was having the pain, I had scheduled the appointment, and the day before I scheduled the appointment was the worst amount of pain I've ever been in my life. I was hunched over for hours, bawling my eyes out. I could not take care of my son, who I only had at the time, because my daughter was staying at my mom's house. So yeah, I could not take care of myself, let alone my son. And like, it was excruciating pain, and I'm used to pain. I have endometriosis, so I am used to a lot of pain daily, and this was just a not normal thing. So anyway, I stopped taking my thyroid meds because I actually skipped one day and my pain had actually gotten better. And I was like, wonder if it's being caused by my thyroid meds. So I'm like, well, I have an appointment scheduled for my pain, and it's going to be like my entire first trimester screening anyway. So I go in and I thinking that I'm going to have my thyroid drawn as well. They already know I have hypothyroidism. I call them. I go in on Monday, have my blood drawn, have 4 vials of blood taken, which I have never had 4 vials of blood taken. I've never had 4 vials of blood taken in my life. And so the fact that they took 4 vials of blood was just really concerning to me. And then they never called me back. So I called them on Monday because they closed early on Friday, and until I remembered, it was too late. So the next Monday, exactly a week later, I called them and I said, hey, what's my test results? And they said, everything looks normal. And I said, even my thyroid? And they said, they never even checked your thyroid, which is a huge, huge, huge red flag. First of all, I have hypothyroidism, so why didn't they just check it? But also, not only that, thyroid can fluctuate during pregnancy, whether you already have hypothyroidism or not. It can already fluctuate. That's actually how I found out I had hypothyroidism when I was pregnant with my son, is it was my first trimester screening and they checked my thyroid. That's like a normal normal thing that you do is to check your thyroid. And they never did that. So they were like, oh, you have hypothyroidism? And I said, yeah. And they said, okay, well, we'll send you in for some blood work. And I said, okay. So I go in on Wednesday. So that was Monday. 2 days later, I go in on Wednesday. Tuesday was the day that shit fell through the roof, literally. Our roof collapsed and came off of our house. So we couldn't do it on Tuesday because that was just a lot. There was a really strong wind and we just did not feel comfortable even leaving our house that day. So Wednesday, I go in and I have my blood drawn. The phlebotomist says you will have your test results by tomorrow. And I said, okay. So tomorrow rolls around, I don't get them. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll just call tomorrow, the next day, which was Friday. And so I called on Friday and I said, hey, I had my blood drawn on Wednesday. And they said, oh, no one's in. So no one has read your test results yet. We won't have your test results until next week. Thyroid is not something you fuck around with. And I told them, and I was like, I am out of meds. Literally out of meds. What, like, hello? And so by the time that I had stopped my meds, because I was already out of meds too, I thought I was only going to be off of my meds for about 4 days. So from the time of getting off of them when I was having the pain to the time of my first appointment, which I thought I was going to get my thyroid checked, was only about 4 days. And that should have been what it was, but instead it took them 2 weeks to get me meds. So it had been 2 weeks by the time I called them and I was like, hey, I don't have my meds. And they were like, oh, no one's here to read your test results, so we don't know what your test results are. And I'm like, it's literally been 2 days. The phlebotomist told me the day before, when I actually got my blood drawn, that I would get them the next day, and I never did. And it's just like the most ridiculous thing.
I also want to put this in here since this has been after this entire video was filmed, but my test results with this clinic was 13. My thyroid has never been over a 5. So now fast forward to 2 weeks when I'm going to my new doctor and they check my thyroid. I had actually skipped a couple days of my thyroid meds that they gave me, which they didn't even change my meds. They kept it at the same amount, which doesn't even make sense. But it was at a 4.5. There's absolutely no way that it can go from a 13 to a 4.5, especially when I have not taken a certain amount of my meds. I had only probably taken about 8 pills at that time.
So I go in. She prescribes me my old dosage, which I don't even know is right, because obviously with the pain, and which was never addressed, it's just like this whole shit show. It was like, I don't even know if any of this is really making sense. I'm trying to tell it in like a cohesive way, but it's just so much of a shit show that like I don't even think I can tell it in a cohesive way. So the next Monday, so 5 days after I get my blood drawn for my actual thyroid, they call me and they say, hey, your number is at a 13. My number has never been past a 5, ever. The fact that like I was only off of my meds for 2 weeks and it was at a 13 is just ridiculous to me. So, 100% think I'm on the wrong dosage. I don't think I'm on the right dosage, and I need to, when I go to my new doctor in just a couple days, I'm going to thoroughly talk to them and be like, I need to know what my right dosage is, because I don't think this is it. I've been on 100 micrograms since June, I think, and they've never checked my thyroid. This is the first time they've checked my thyroid, so I don't know. It's just so frustrating and confusing, and it's like, how long has my thyroid been at a 13? Because if it's the wrong dosage. Why are you not upping my dosage? So anyway, I'm going to talk to my doctor about that. So yeah, that is kind of all that has happened with that whole situation. Also, when I got my first blood draw, that was the 4 vials, which wasn't even for my thyroid, the phlebotomist was really rude. She was like, come on through. And I was like, okay. She was just like really mean. And I understand that it was literally right as soon as they were closing, but that was when they scheduled my appointment, so that's not my fault. So yeah, also they called me to schedule, I'm so sorry if you guys can hear construction, it's horrible. They also called me after my first appointment to schedule my next appointment for my 12-week scan. And by the way, I'm not going there, I'm going to a different doctor. So and for the midwives, they have 3 different midwives, and they all come on like the same day. So one person is all Mondays, one person is all Tuesdays, you know, like so on and so forth. And so they were like, oh, can you do Wednesday? Because of COVID, we have to find a babysitter for the kids. And because of COVID, my husband has to come with. So like, it's just a big long COVID thing. So also, like, he wants to see the baby. So the only day that he can do is Mondays. And so they were like, oh, can you do Wednesdays? And I said, no, we can only do Mondays. And they said, oh, we don't like you to do that. We would like you to see all 3 midwives during your pregnancy, which, like, I understand. But at the same time, like, I can only do Mondays because of your whole COVID policy, because kids are not allowed in your room, which also does not make sense. If I'm exposed to COVID in your facility, I'm also bringing it home to my kids. So like, what does it matter if my kids are with me? I think it's just the stupidest thing. And like, how are single moms supposed to go to the doctors? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. So anyway, enough on that tangent. Yeah, they discouraged me from coming on only on Mondays, and I was like, that's literally the only day I can do. That's the only day that my husband has off. He works in a different town, so he has to go on his actual day off to my appointments. So that is kind of all of the things that have happened, but they're really big red flags. You know, the fact that they didn't even ask me about my pain unless it was in my uterus. Like, they literally just didn't care. The fact that they never even checked my thyroid. The fact that I had to wait 5 days to get my actual test results. Is just, there's just so many red flags that like I can't ignore. And I refuse to ignore. I am this baby's advocate, and this baby does not have a voice currently. And I am that baby's voice, and for my pregnancy and birth, I need to be able to trust my medical providers, and I don't trust them. So I have made an appointment for my new doctors. I'm seeing them on Monday. Today is Thursday, and I'm so excited about it. This practice actually has different midwives for every day of the week. So for every Monday, I'm going to be seeing a whole new doctor. So anyway, there's that. They actually also always ask me if I have any questions at the end of it, so that'll be nice. Also with my birth, I love my hospital so much. So that is where I am at, and that is why I am leaving my doctors. I told a bunch of you over on my Instagram stories, and I got so many messages being like, yeah, that's not okay, definitely leave those doctors. 100% you need to trust your medical providers, especially during pregnancy and birth. Like, pregnancy and birth is one of the most scary and anxious times, and you need to be able to trust your medical providers for your baby and you. And that's where I'm at. So yes, that is why I am leaving my doctors. That is why I am going to doctors an hour away. Because doctors just suck around here, and it really sucks that I now live in a town where I can't even trust a single doctor. So anyway, that is kind of all that I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will talk to you in my next one.